Hi, my name is François Donzé. I am an HPE technical consultant, and today I will present the two-factor authentication feature available with HPE iLO. After a brief introduction, I will review the different technical prerequisites using PowerShell and the Postman API platform. Then, I will explain how to configure the TFA still using Postman. In the next section, I will test the feature using Postman, the iLO graphical user interface, and lastly, the HPE iLO REST tool. HPE iLO REST is the perfect tool for managing this feature, and I will use it to disable TFA. The last part of this video presents briefly the HPE Server Management Portal, which contains, among other things, detailed documentation related to the TFA. The two-factor authentication of Microsoft Active Directory users has been implemented in iLO 5 version 2.95 and iLO 6 1.50. Users can authenticate with TFA via the iLO graphical user interface and via Redfish clients like HPE iLO REST, curl, or Ansible. Prior to enable the feature, Active Directory has to be properly configured in iLO, and eligible users must have a valid mail address configured in the directory. Moreover, iLO must be properly connected to an SMTP server. The TFA process flow is simple and standard. First, the credential of the user is sent to the iLO, which mails a one-time password to the user's mailbox configured in his Microsoft Active Directory profile. When the iLO receives this OTP, it grants access to the user. Before being able to use the TFA feature, some technical prerequisites have to be met. The first one is to have a valid configuration of eligible users in the Microsoft Active Directory. With the help of a getAD-user PowerShell command, we can verify that user iLO admin has an email address configured. To be on the safe side, I verified that this user is able to log into the iLO without the TFA configured. A successful logging returns a directory user type in the Redfish body response. Another prerequisite is the correct configuration of Microsoft Active Directory in the iLO. This configuration is held by properties subordinate to the account service. The HPE OEM extension should have the default schema value for the LDAP authentication mode property key. The LDAP service must be enabled and have at least one base distinguished name configured. The default Active Directory configuration may be sufficient in simple situations. Verifying that iLO can send emails via a properly configured SMTP server is crucial for the TFA feature. All the properties used for this configuration are located in the Network Protocol section of the Manager's subtree. For historical reasons, they are prefixed with the alert string. HPE provides the possibility to send a test mail to the configured mail address by requesting an OEM post action. The timestamp of a request can be retrieved from the headers of a response. If iLO succeeds to send the test mail, a successful message with the same timestamp is posted in the iLO event log. The prerequisites have been verified and the TFA configuration can now happen. First of all, in the Manager's Network Protocol section, the OEM SMTP for TFA-enabled property must be set to true using a patch request. This modification is effective immediately. Then, the OEM two-factor auth property in the account service becomes ready to be enabled. Its modification is also effective immediately. The TFA configuration is now complete, and I can log out from the remote iLO. In this section, I start by reviewing the technical prerequisites and configuration settings in the iLO graphical user interface. To validate the TFA, I will log in the iLO using Postman first and then with the iLO GUI. The SMTP configuration and the test mail address are located in the mail tabulation of the management section in the iLO graphical user interface. The security section of the graphical user interface contains the other required TFA settings. The first logging verification is performed with the Postman API application. The first step of this TFA process is to post a request with the user credentials the same way as a regular session creation. With TFA enabled, the session creation response has a 401 unauthorized code and a message explaining that a one-time password has been sent. Using your favorite scripting method, you need to retrieve the one-time password from the mailbox of the user. By adding a token key containing the OTP value in the session creation request body, the session creation demand is fulfilled. The iLO TFA feature is also supported by the graphical user interface. Once the Microsoft Active Directory user credentials have been supplied, a notification message appears asking for the one-time password. Retrieve the OTP from the user's mailbox and provide it to the iLO graphical user interface to get fully authenticated. The HP iLO REST version 4.5 Redfish client has been updated to support the TFA feature. Similarly to logging via the iLO graphical user interface, after providing the user's credentials, iLO REST sends a notification message asking to provide again the credentials and append the -O option with the 6-digit OTP. iLO REST 4.5 supports as well a macro command to manage the TFA feature. The set two-factor authentication status command retrieves the SMTP for TFA and the TFA statuses. You can disable completely the TFA by setting to false the SMTP for TFA-enabled property. The HP Server Management Portal contains generic Redfish and iLO-specific documentation. Browse the Services section down to the Security Supplement Documents menu, and you will find a page dedicated to the TFA.